Bruce, as a screen tough guy, you're going to have to suffer what all movie heroes suffered. Challenges from exhibitionists and nuts asking you to fight, challenging you to fight. It's already begun to happen, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
How do you deal with it?
When I first learned martial arts, I too have challenged many established instructors. And of course, some other challenging me also. But what I have learned is that challenging means one thing, is that what is your reaction to it? How does it get you? Now, if you are secure within yourself, you treat it very, very, very lightly, because you ask yourself now, am I really afraid of that man? Or is that man, do I have any doubt within me that he's going to get me? If I do not have such doubt, and if I do not have such fear, I would certainly treat it very lightly, just as today the rain is going on strong, but tomorrow maybe the sun is going to come out again. I mean, it's like that type of a thing.
Of course, they can't lose by challenging you. Even if they lose, they get the publicity of being a guy who actually fought.
Well, let's face it. I mean, in Hong Kong, can you have a fight? I mean, a no-hold-bar fight. Is it a legal thing? It isn't, is it? And to me, you see, a lot of things, I mean, you know, like challenging and all that, I am the last to know. I am always the last to know, man. I mean, I always find out from newspapers, from reporters, before I personally realize what the hell is happening.
Bruce, you were teaching martial arts in the States, and
Yes.
two of your students were Steve McQueen and James Coburn. Did you find them tough people, the way they're portrayed on the screen?
Well, first of all, James Coburn, definitely, is not a fighter. Lover, yes. I mean, he's really a super nice guy. I mean, not only that, he's a very peaceful man. He learned martial art because he finds that it is a very, very, it is like a mirror to reflect himself. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I personally believe that all type of knowledge, I don't care what it is, ultimately means self-knowledge. And that's what he is after. Now, Steve is very uptight. Steve is very high-strung, you know. Now, Steve, he can be a very good martial artist. But I hope that martial art would cool him down a little bit. Maybe make him a little bit more mellower and be more peaceful, like Jim.
Did it achieve that, his time with you? Did you feel that perhaps he learned something from you?
No, definitely not yet. First, because of shooting schedule and all that, I mean, he cannot have it on a regular basis. And secondly, he is still on the level right now of enjoying it as an excitement, like his motorcycle and his sports car, you know. Some for release of his whatever, anger, whatever, you name it.
Bruce, how much of your screen personality is really you? I mean, you teach martial arts, so you're obviously very good at it. But of course, teachers are not always the best exponents or practitioners.
Right.
Are you able to take care of yourself, would you say?
I will answer this, first of all, with a joke, if you don't mind. Oftentimes people come up and say, hey, Bruce, are you really that good? I said, well, if I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying. But, all right, going back to be truthful with you. Let's just put it this way. I have no fear of opponent in front of me. That I am very self-sufficient. That they do not bother me. And that should I fight, should I do anything, I have made up my mind, and that's it, baby. You better kill me before.
Bruce, in The Big Boss, you play a man who's very slow to anger.
Yes.
He's shy, diffident. You even stay out of fights in the early scenes because of a promise you made to your mother.
Yes.
Is that a little bit like you, or is this just the screen personality?
This is definitely a screen personality, because as a person, one thing that I have definitely learned, and my life, it seems like It's a life of self-examination and self-peeling of myself bit by bit, day by day. Is that I do have a bad temper, a violent temper, in fact. So that is definitely, some people that I am portraying, not Bruce Lee as he is.
Well, as well as being an exceptionally successful film in terms of finance, it grossed more than any other pictures ever done in Hong Kong. The Big Boss does show some very explicit sex scenes, doesn't it? What's your reaction to being in bed with a lovely young movie star in front of the whole studio crew? Does it intimidate you? Does it worry you at all?
Well, it certainly would not intimidate me, I can tell you that. Well, it's all right as long as the script justifies it. But I definitely do not agree to put something in there just for the heck of it, because it is an exploitation. Like, for instance, when I start shooting The Big Boss, the first question was asked, hey man, how many thousands of feet of films, my English is getting terrible now, is it going to be? My reaction is that, first of all, why do I start fighting? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, motivation.
Definitely. You see, but it seems like to be the thing now that they go for blood, sex, just merely for the sake of sex and merely for the sake of blood.
May I ask you a question that's been puzzling me since I saw the film?
Yeah.
At the stage where you decide you're going to get revenge, and
yes,
that's obviously leading up to the climax,
right,
you suddenly decide to go off and make love to a girlfriend in a bordello.
Yeah.
What's the motivation for that?
Now, the way I look at that, that was a suggestion of the director. And I accept it in such a way, and that is him being a very simple man. When all of a sudden he made up his mind that he's gonna go and either die, either kill or be killed, right? So he walked past by. It's a kind of a sudden thing of human being, that a thought just occurred, well, doggone it, man, such is the basic need of a human being. I might as well enjoy it, man, before I kick the bucket, like that type of an attitude. You cannot say it's just an occurrence,
I think you'd probably agree, Bruce, that
yes,
the thing that's limited the appeal of Chinese films to Western audiences is that it's very unusual to find a Chinese actor who can act. And when I say that, I mean act in a Western style, in a manner that would make non-Chinese pay money to see them. You seem to have crossed that barrier. How do you think you've achieved it? Do you think it has to do with your time in the United States?
Oh,
You
yes,
studied there, didn't you?
Yes, it definitely has, because when I first arrived there, I did the Green Hornet, television series back in '65. And as I look around, man, I saw a lot of human beings. And as I look at myself, I was the only robot there, because I was not being myself, and I'm trying to accumulate external security, external technique, the way to move my arm, but never to ask and say what Bruce Lee would have done if, the word if, such a thing happened to me. When I look around, I always learn something, and that is to be always yourself, and to express yourself, to have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate him. Now, that seems to me that is the prevalent thing happening in Hong Kong. Like, they always copy mannerisms, but they never start from the very root of his being, and that is, how can I be me? You see, I never believed the word star. That's an illusion, man. That's something public calls you. You see, and when you become successful, when you become famous, it's very, very easily to be blinded by all these happenings. Everybody come up to you with Mr. Lee. When you have long hair, they will say, hey man, like, that's in, man, baby, that's the in thing. But if you have no name, they will say, boy, look at that disgusting juvenile delinquent. Too many people are yes, yes, yes to you all the time, you see. So unless you really at that time have gone through quite a lot and understand what life is about. And that right now, man, some game is happening, and realizing such that is a game, fine and dandy, then it's all right. But most people tend to be blinded by it because, I mean, if things are repeated too many times, you believe in it and it becomes a habit.
The danger is believing the public impression of you.
That's
isn't
right,
it?
man.
Your father warned you about the bad things in show business.
Yes.
Have you met them too?
Oh,
Apart from the illusion.
I mean, of course.
You seem to have come out of it remarkably well.
Well, let me put it this way. To be honest and all that, I am not as bad as some of them. But I definitely am not saying that I am a saint. Okay?
Well, could we go back to the fighting? Because
Yes.
like it or not, it's the thing that you're mainly identified with
Yes.
at this moment. You know a number of
Unfortunately.
styles of fighting, karate, judo, Chinese boxing.
Yes.
And it's a question you must have been asked hundreds of times before.
Yes.
Which do you think is the most effective?
You see, my answer to that is this. There is no such thing as an effective segment of a totality. By that I mean, I personally do not believe in the word style. Why? Because unless there are human beings with 3 arms and 4 legs, unless we have other group of beings on earth that are structurally different from us, then there might be a different style of fighting. Now, why is that? Because we have 2 hands and 2 legs now. The important thing is how can we use it to the maximum in terms of path? Well, straight line, curved line, round lines. They might be slow, but depending on the circumstances, sometimes that might not be slow. And in terms of legs, you can kick up straight. Same thing, right? Physically, how can I be so well coordinated? That means you have to be an athlete. That means you gotta have jogging and all this basic ingredient, right? Now, and after all that, then you ask yourself, how can you honestly express yourself at that moment? And being yourself, when you punch, you really want to punch. Not you want to punch because trying to avoid not getting hit, but to really be in with it and express yourself. Now that is to me the most important thing, and that is how can I, in the process of learning how to use my body, to understand myself. Now the unfortunate thing is, now there's boxing, which use hands, judo, which is throwing. Now I'm not putting them down, mind you, but I'm saying one thing that is the bad thing, and that is, because of styles, people are separated. They are not united together because styles became law, man. But the original founder of the style started out with hypotheses. But now it has become the gospel truth. And people that go into it, man, became the product of that. It doesn't matter how you are, who you are, how you are structured, how you are built, how you are made. It doesn't matter. You just go in there and be that product. And that, to me, is not right.
Bruce Lee, thank you.
Ted, I thank you, man.
Since Bruce has passed away in July, I've received many letters from people in Hong Kong who have not signed their names or who have not given their return addresses on the letters. And also, I'm sure there's many other people who wanted to communicate their feelings to me because so many people loved Bruce. I'd like to thank all those people. It's been a great help to me to know that I have many friends here, even though I'm not a Chinese, and you have welcomed me into your city and into your hearts.
Linda, do you take personal interest in these letters? If you have the chance to reply, would you do that?
Yes, I have replied to some of them, and in fact I will reply to all of the ones that I can. It's just that with all this inquest going on and everything, and I have a lot of things to do while I'm here, I may not get the replies done as soon as I should, but I will reply to the ones that I can.
Linda Lee, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sam and Ribu Hoi have been my very close friends for quite a while, but since Bruce passed away, they've given me so much help and support and friendship without asking anything back. I don't think that I could have been as strong as I have been or have tried to have been without their support and their friendship.
I heard from Rebo that your association with them was quite by accident. Is that right? How you met?
Well, they came back to Hong Kong at about the same time we did, and we were all taken to dinner by the Golden Harvest people together. And Becky and I, not being so keen on the different kinds of Chinese food, we were eating duck's tongue and eel and things like this on that particular night, and we'd be glancing at each other over the table and chuckling, and I guess maybe because we're both Americans and we come from the same background, we struck up a very close friendship.
Linda, can you tell us, how did you spend your time with Bruce? How long have you been married for a start?
We celebrated our 9th anniversary just last month, so we just missed our 9th anniversary.
And during your 9 years, can you recall your happiest moments?
Well, there's so many. It's hard to say when is the very most happy moment. I'd rather not specify one moment. It's more of a growing happiness as the years went by. I can't say the day we got married is the most happy, because as the years went by, our happiness became more, love became deeper.
How did you meet Bruce?
I had a girlfriend in high school, a Chinese girlfriend, who was taking kung fu lessons from Bruce. And we all thought it was very funny. And we laughed at her and kidded her about it. And Bruce used to come to my high school. I was still in high school, and he was in college. And he used to give lectures in Chinese philosophy. And my girlfriend was quite struck with him. And she took me along one day to her kung fu lesson. And I thought it was quite a bit of nonsense. Then, however, some time passed. And after graduating from high school, I started at the University of Washington, where Bruce was also going to school. And because my Chinese girlfriend knew him, we sort of became a group that used to meet together in the hub between classes. And we would just talk together and just have a lot of fun all together in a group like. And then, the group kind of broke up. And Bruce and I sort of just got together.
And you yourself have taken up Kung Fu?
Oh, yes, from that point on.
From Bruce?
Yes, in fact, actually, I don't know if I was more interested in the Kung Fu or in the teacher.
Did it take you long to develop the art?
Oh, well, I can't say I ever developed the art to any degree of proficiency, but I've always been very physical, and I was a cheerleader in high school, so I wasn't completely out of shape, so I could do the things that everyone else was doing in class. After we got married, he sort of used me as a sparring partner.
Oh.
Gently. But he had tried new things on me. And when the children were coming along and they were young, I didn't continue to practice daily. But he made it very clear that a woman is no match for a man when it comes to fighting. Mm. But in another way, a man doesn't usually come up to a woman and put up his fists and say, we're going to have a fight. He will more likely to come up to a woman and grab her from behind in other words, he will be in a very vulnerable position. Mm-hmm. So the best way he taught me is just to hit the vulnerable spots and scream and run a lot.
Did you ever reach a stage where you feel that you could be an instructor yourself?
No, never, no.
I was under the impression that on television here in Hong Kong that you were able to take care of yourself.
Well, we sometimes did demonstrations together, but demonstrations are completely different from being proficient in an art. A demonstration is a show.
I see.
And as far as my part of any demonstration, it's a bunch of tricks.
I see. Well, Linda, could you tell us, after your marriage to Bruce, where do you normally spend your free time? I mean, on his spare time.
He was a very private individual. He didn't like to socialize, didn't like to mix with nightclub people or go out and party a lot. So we spent most of our spare time at home in this room, which you can, in his study, where you can live for days without going out. Supplied with refrigerator, television, books, and he could stay in here for days and days.
Well, let me describe to the listener exactly what I see here. Two statues of one of Charles Chaplin, or Charlie Chaplin, and one of Stan Laurel. Is that right? Stan Laurel. And
there used to be four. There used to be W.C. Fields and Laurel and Hardy.
well, we have Laurel, but what happened to Hardy?
They got broken.
Who by?
My son.
And also I see lots of books. Lots of books, Linda. Are they mostly on any particular topic?
Well, they cover all kinds of physical training, all kinds of hand-to-hand combat, in any style, Western, Eastern, any kind. Philosophy, any kind, worldwide. You know, he didn't just stick to any one particular kind. Many books on improving yourself, knowing more about yourself, such as books by Krishnamurti or The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran, books like that.
Now, moving on, let's see, two very, very comfortable armchairs. I presume one is for you, one is for Bruce.
Yeah, right, yeah. One of them was supposed to be in the bedroom, but we decided if one of us is going to be comfortable, we might as well both be comfortable, so we moved both in here, because we sit in here all the time.
And on to the right, a pickup, a tape cassette deck, and an amplifier, and more books, and the two speakers spread as would any stereo set, and a picture of Bruce Lee. When was that picture taken, Linda?
That was taken, I guess about a year ago, on the top of Ocean Terminal, car park.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now, since we were in such a cozy atmosphere, can you tell us what sort of music Bruce like? Or let's say both of you like.
Bruce likes modern music. He didn't especially like classical music, although we did have a few records of classical music that sometimes we did put on. But he likes some jazz, mostly music with a beat, some mostly romantic music, music where the words have a meaning.
Now, Linda, if we can come to the list of songs that mean an awful lot to Bruce and yourself. I see you have Sergio Mendes and Sinatra, Tom Jones, Samuel Hoy, Engelbert Humperdinck. Can you tell us, first of all, what is the meaning behind My Way by Frank Sinatra?
Well, I love that song myself very much, and every time I hear it, every time I've heard it, I always think of Bruce, because he always did things his way. And there were many other ways he could have become successful. He could have, for instance, opened a chain of kung fu schools in the United States, because it's a fad over there now. And he was often advised that he should do this, especially after he did the Green Hornet television series. He could become a millionaire doing that. But he didn't feel that that was the right thing to do, because to learn his type of martial art takes very personal instruction. And he could have He could have grabbed hold of several television series which were offered to him over there, but he didn't feel that was the right way to do. People were always advising him of he should do this or he should do that. He should write a book because he had become so popular in the martial arts world and he could make a mint off of this or that. But he stuck to what he thought was the right way for him to achieve his goal. He wrote down on a piece of paper in 1969 exactly what his goal is, and that was to become a film star, bringing out the best qualities of Chinese martial arts and showing it to the world.
Well, that's one way of expressing one's way, and that is the reason behind the song My Way by Frank Sinatra.
He liked to watch Chinese Cantonese movies on TV, mainly because he didn't like so much the movie, as he would be studying the techniques they were using and to see what they did good and what they did bad, and so what he could use. Not only Cantonese movies, but any kind of movies.
What about the fighting movies, the Chinese boxing movies for Wong Fei Hung? Does he like that?
Yeah, he likes to watch it, yeah. He could pick out what he shouldn't do because it didn't look very good, or what or the other way around too. What was good, Besides that, he liked to watch those movies because he knows most of the people in those movies, and he often worked with them when he was a child.
Coming back to the music, Linda, I see that Bruce likes Sergio Mendes a lot. Any particular reason for that?
Because of the beat. Bruce can dance really well. Yeah, he was, in fact, in 1958, I think he was the Cha-Cha King of Hong Kong.
Right.
Yeah, and so he really likes music that you can move by. And he used to put music like this on and jump around the room and spar and do movements, trying to get a flow going.
Does he find that the two go together?
Before it comes, you have already to, your response is often before you have been attacked. You have to be that quick. He was anyway.
And what about your son, Linda, Brandon? I believe he is also quite a martial artist himself.
Well, he's very, very physical. He's very strong. He can do some elementary things like side kicks, and I believe he did that on television. But Bruce didn't feel it's the right time for him to go into a detailed study of Jeet Kune Do, which is what Bruce called his style of fighting, because it takes some discipline of mind as well as body. So he started Brandon in judo, not because he believes judo is a good defensive way of fighting, but more because it involves bodily contact and because you learn to handle your own body.
And so would you say that Brandon is good enough to look after himself?
Depends. Look after himself from who? I mean,
if he gets into a fight, I mean.
With another 8-year-old, let's say? Definitely. More than able. He's proved it on more than one account. He's very much like Bruce. Like if anyone does something wrong, for instance, one time my son and my daughter were playing at another child's house, and this other boy pushed my daughter down, and Brandon took after him and really beat the dickens out of him. He wouldn't stop. He's very defensive of what belongs to him.
Does he love his little sister a lot?
Oh, definitely. Of course, they have their arguments, and they fight about toys and everything like that, normal. But when I'm not around, when nobody's around, he takes very, very good care of her. He, even now, when they are in Canada together, and I'm not there, even though my sister is the one that's acting as the mommy, he is the one that looks after her very, very closely, makes sure everything is right for her.
Are you going to encourage him to carry on with this kung fu?
Oh, yes, I don't know Bruce has one assistant instructor in Seattle that he who studied with Bruce for quite a few years. So he will be able to carry on Brandon's training. For now, until Brandon's a little bit older, he can carry on with judo. He's just become a yellow belt, so he can carry on a little more with that. But he will be physically active in everything. Bruce and I, besides martial arts, Bruce and I both loved gymnastics. And we'd like to encourage Brandon as well as Shannon to go into that.
Now, Linda, Kung Fu is not really the title or the name that Bruce described his fighting.
No, he didn't actually call it Kung Fu. The actual name he used was Jeet Kune Do, but he didn't actually like to have a name or a style branded on his way of fighting, because he felt that fighting is something that evolves of itself. It happens as, you react to something not in a way you've been taught or in a stylized way, but in a way that fits the appropriate time. And so he hated to be labeled with a certain style, but the name he used was Jeet Kune Do.
What does that actually mean?
The actual translation is stopping fist way, or intercepting fist way.
But now he has been branded with the title Kung Fu.
Well, Kung Fu is really a general term.
Impossible Dream by Tom Jones. What does that mean to you?
Actually, it means, I think, that nothing is impossible. The name of the song happens to be Impossible Dream, but Bruce never said anything was impossible. He always tried harder or reached out for the highest. He reached for the star. He made his dreams come true. He didn't wait for an opportunity to come along. He made his own opportunities.
Sergio Mendes and Look Around.
Bruce believed that each new day should be a day of discovery, that yesterday is passed by and tomorrow is not yet here. We should live in the present. And that's why every day should be a new day of creation. And this song, if you listen closely to the words, it explains how you should notice the little things that are around you every day that you take for granted, but are really what make up the real world.
Now, I believe Samuel Hui and his wife Rebu are very close friends of yours, Linda. Any reason for the song Morning After?
Well, I love the song. I love it more because Sam sings it. But I think, there's three ways of saying why I like the Morning After. One is because I believe that Bruce has passed into a world of a new morning, a new world, say. He's left this darkness of this world and gone into a brighter world. Another is because now I have to find my new morning. I have to start again.